Tetzaveh. Tetzaveh. La. You looking for something? Tetzaveh. That's your Torah portion for today. Tetzaveh. Okay, going into today's Torah portion. Looks like we're having some problems on the YouTube end. Clubhouse is good. On this, and we having some connection issues on YouTube. All right, so sorry about that. All right, so we in the Torah portion of Tetzaveh, okay, for today. The Shabbat, which is dealing with the installation of the priest and some of the things that Masha had to do to get them set up in their office. All right, and it starts out with Exodus, Shemoth, chapter 27, verse 20. And that's going to be the first aliyah starting. And then that aliyah means the rising, because each reader would come up and read the section. So it was called a rising or lifting. Okay. Does anybody have the division for the aliyot? Actually, I got it right here. Don't worry about it. It just happens to be behind. Okay, so the first portion is going to be chapter 27, verse 20 through 28 and 12. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna do. We can do the first. We can do the first few verses in Hebrew still. Since the Quran is gone, I'll go ahead and do the first 3 verses in the Hebrew. Then I'll come back and do it in English. Parza ban zayatan ban gad ban yashurale. Yabaraka kam Yahawah Bashem Hamashiach Yahawashi. So Exodus chapter 27, verse 20, 21, and 22 in the Ibadi of Hebrew. Wa'ata Tetzaveh ath banyar yasher Allah. Wayakwakwa aliyaka shaman zayatan. Or shaman zayath. Shaman zayath zar katwath la ma'awar la ha'ilath. Ha'ilat nar na mayad. Ba'ahal mawa'id ma khawat la parapath ashara il ha'idath iyarak. Salaklia. Ya Irak. At wa Aharan wa Banyawa Ma'irab id Bakwar La Panya Yahawah Chakwath Iwalam or Iwalam La Daratham Ma'ath Banya Yashab Allah. Kalashra the body YAHAWAH Naishawa Nashami. All that YAHAWAH has said what we doing here. Next chapter 28 verse 1. Wa'atha Hakorab al Yaka ad Aharan ak Yaka Wa'at Banyawa Atwa Matawak Banya Yashar Allah La Kahanwa La Ya Aharan Nabad Wa YAHAWAH Ala Izar Wa Ayatamar Banya Aharan. All right, so that's the first three in Hebrew. Now I'll go back and do the English. What I say? Stopping at 12, right? 7 on here? Not yet. All right, so chapter 28, chapter 27, verse 20, Exodus. And thou shalt command the children of Yashar Allah that they bring thee pure olive oil beaten for the lamp. Cause the lamp to burn always, and the tabernacle of the congregation without the veil, which is before the testimony. Aharon and his sons shall order it from evening to morning before YAHAWAH. It shall be a statute forever unto their generations on the behalf of the Banya Yashar Allah. Kalashra the body YAHAWAH. Naishawa Nashami. All that YAHAWAH has said what we doing here. Chapter 28. And take thou unto thee Aharon thy brother and his sons with thee from among the children of Yashar Allah, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office, even Aharon, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. And thou shalt make holy garments for Aharon thy brother, for glory and for beauty. And thou shalt speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they may make Aharon's garment to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate and an ephod and a robe and a broidered coat, a mitre and a girdle. And they shall make holy garments for Aharon thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And they shall take gold and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen, and they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, and of purple, of scarlet, and fine twined linen with cunning work. And it shall have the two shoulder pieces thereof, joined at the two edges thereof, so it shall be joined together. And the curious girdle of the ephod which is upon it shall be of the same, according to the work thereof, even of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And thou shalt take 2 onyx stones, engrave on them the names of the Banya Yashar Allah, children of Israel, 6 of the names on 1 stone, and the other 6 names on the rest of the other stones, according to their birth. With the work of the engraver in stone, like the engraving of a signet, shalt thou engrave the 2 stones with the names of the Banya Yashar Allah. Thou shalt make them to be set in ounces of gold, and thou shalt put the 2 stones upon the shoulders of the ephod of stones of memorial unto the Banya Yashar Allah, and Aharon shall bear their names before YAHAWAH upon his 2 shoulders for a memorial. That ends that reading. So we see that the Most High wants stuff done neatly, he wants stuff done in order, and he likes good, nice things. They have gold, fine linen, and these colors were very expensive. The colors, the dye for the color, the powder for the color was worth as much as gold, sometimes more. All right, so it was literally worth gold. Like if gold was worth 33 dollars a gram or an ounce or whatever, then that dye was worth the same amount. Like I said, sometimes even more. Okay. And then you got the ounces of gold, and then you got the ephod and the onyx stones also. Okay. All right, next reader. I'm trying to write the things, man. When we read or write the 7 divisions, man. Imadwa, Barakwa.
Yabarakakam Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahweh.
Yabarakaka Yahawah Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahawashi. Okay, so the next reading is going to be Exodus 28, verse 13 through verse 30. Exodus 28, 13 through 30.
Okay.
So this is Yahweh telling us what he wants and how he wants it to be made, giving us very specific instructions, not leaving really too much for interpretation.
Yeah.
So he's very specific on what he wants. Exodus 28, verse 13 through 30, coming down the pipeline. Sorry for the delay.
And thou shalt make ouches of gold, and 2 chains of pure gold at the end of wreathen work shalt thou make them, and fasten the wreathen chains to the ouches. And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment with cunning work.
Come.
After the work of the ephod, thou shalt make it of gold, of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, and of fine twined linen shalt thou make it. 4 square it shall be, being doubled. A span shall be the length thereof, and a span shall be the breadth thereof. And thou shalt set in it settings of stones, even 4 rows of stones. The first row shall be a scarnidus, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This shall be the first row. And the second row shall be an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, a ligure, a agate, and a amethyst. And the fourth row, a beryl, and an onyx, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold in their enclosing. And the stones shall be with the names of the children of Yashar'allah, 12 according to their names, like the engraving of a signet. Every one with his name shall they be according to their 12 tribes. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate chains at the ends of the wreathen work of pure gold. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and shall put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And thou shalt put the 2 wreathing chains of gold in the 2 rings which are on the ends of the breastplate, and the other 2 ends of the 2 wreathing chains thou shalt fasten it in the 2 ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And thou shalt make 2 rings of gold, and thou shalt put them upon the 2 ends of the breastplate in the border thereof, which is in the side of the ephod inward. And the 2 other rings of gold thou shalt make, and shalt put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, towards the far part thereof, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastplate for the rings thereof unto the rings of the ephod with the lace of blue, that it may be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate be not loose from the ephod. And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Yashala in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart, when he goeth in unto the holy place, for a memorial before Yahawah continually. Last verse. And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and Thummim, that they shall be upon Aharon's heart, when he goeth in before Yahawah, and Aharon shall bear the judgment of the children of Yashal upon his heart before Yahawah continually.
So the breastplate is a chashan. In case you might not like to say the word breastplate, chashan or koshin or choshin is the way that it's said. So in here we read about the koshin or the chashan mashapat, the breastplate of judgment. It had 4 rows of precious stones. Each row had 3 stones. They engraved the names of the 12 tribes of Israel upon the 12 stones. And the breastplate contained a fold, and the Urim and the Thummim was put inside there, and Yahweh's name was written on it and inserted inside of it. And it was also secured by straps that connected it to the ephod. Okay. Next section is chapter 28, verse 31 to 43.
Amadwa, Barak,
So chapter 28, verse 31 to 43.
Exodus chapter 28, verse 31. And thou shalt make the robe of the ephod olive blue, and there shall be an hole in the top of it, in the midst thereof. It shall have a binding of woven work round about the whole of it, as it were the hole of an habergeon, that it be not rent. And beneath, upon the hem of it, thou shalt make pomegranates of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, round about the hem thereof, and bells of gold between them and round about. A golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate, upon the hem of the robe round about. And it shall be upon Aharon to minister, and his sound shall be heard when he goeth in unto the holy place before Yahawah, and when he cometh out, that he die not. And thou shalt make a plate of pure gold, and grave upon it, like the engravings of a signet, holiness to Yahawah. And thou shalt put it on a blue lace, that it may be upon the mitre, upon the forefront of the mitre it shall be. And it shall be upon Aharon's forehead, that Aharon may bear the iniquity of the holy things, which the children of Yashala shall hallow in all their holy gifts. And it shall be always upon his forehead, that they may be accepted before Yahawah. And thou shalt embroider the coat of fine linen, and thou shalt make the mitre of fine linen, and thou shalt make the girdle of needlework. And for Aharon's sons thou shalt make coats, and thou shalt make for them girdles, and bonnets shalt thou make for them for glory and for beauty. And thou shalt put them upon Aharon thy brother, and his sons with him, and shalt anoint them, and consecrate them, and sanctify them, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office. And thou shalt make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness, from the kins even unto the thighs they shall reach. And they shall be upon Aharon and upon his sons when they come in unto the tabernacle of the congregation, or when they come near unto the altar to minister in the holy place, that they bear not iniquity and die. It shall be a statute forever unto him and to his seed after him. Kala Shara Debar Yahawah,
Kalashara Debar Yahawah,
Na Isha wa Na Shami.
Na Isha wa Na Shami.
All they Yahawah said,
All they Yahawah said,
what we doing here?
what we do in here. Okay, so in this aliyah, we saw that it describes the last two garments, which were exclusive for the high priest, the miel and the tzitzi, or the tzitz. The miel is the coat that went over. The miel was the blue robe, and it's not a special word. It's a common style of garment, but it was made special, okay? So it's just like ma'il, which means something that goes over, okay? So what it was is, it was a blue robe which was decorated with golden bells and pomegranates, all right? And then he had a golden band worn on his forehead, which was engraved with the words, Holy to Yahawah. So the Tawadah describes the four garments that were worn by the high priest and the regular priest, mainly being the tunics, turbans, the sashes, which were the girdles, and also the pants, the trousers that were worn underneath, which came approximately to what, the thigh, right? Right, came like around to the knee area. Okay, so even nowadays, we still wear. As a matter of fact, right now I have on all of these. Okay, right now I have on all of these things. Right, I have on the tunic, I have on the turban, I have on the sash or the girdle, and I have on the pants. So my pants are a lot longer. My pants come to my ankle. All right, but they have a band on them where I can put them up to my thigh if I wanted to, right? So those are the types of things. Two things to point out: the habergeon is like a coat of mail, so it was woven in such a way where it didn't need to have any type of closure, any type of zipper or buttons. It was just woven as one whole piece of garment, okay? Like a sweater may be woven, but made with a different kind of material, a thinner material, linen, which makes it harder to make actually, all right? Another thing I want to point out is that they made pomegranates. Now, is the pomegranate the likeness of anything that is on the earth? Is a pomegranate on the earth? Did the Most High tell them to make the likeness of a pomegranate, which is on the earth? So did the Most High also say, thou shalt not make any likeness of anything that's on the heaven above or on the earth below? So why is the Most High having them make this fruit on their garments if he's telling them don't make things that are on the earth? Because they're not going to worship it, all right? So people get silly when they see pictures that are supposed to reflect or describe something from the Bible. You might see a picture say, okay, this is my artist rendition of David, of Hamashiach, an artist rendition of the Ark of Noah's Ark, of Noah's Ark, you see? So this is an artist rendition of it. And Moses said, put pomegranates on it. Nobody's gonna worship this pomegranate. I'm sure that there's somebody somewhere in the whole world that is worshiping a pomegranate, somewhere. But we didn't do it to worship it. So we don't take photographs for our passports, for our license, for our residency cards to worship. We don't we don't draw pictures of stick people or caricatures or of giraffes or dinosaurs or of monkeys to worship them, even though in India, monkeys are worshipped as a god. Monkeys are worshipped as gods. People worship lions in some cultures, right? So Solomon had lions going up the steps to his temple, but it wasn't to worship. So this gives us an application, all right? This gives us an application, and this gives us an understanding of what the Most High says when he talks about, don't make a graven image, all right? So now thereby we can receive some type of sawad or some type of secret or mystery, all right? Not really, but some sort that the Most High is not against you making something on the earth if it's not for the purpose of worshiping, okay? If it's not for the purpose of worshiping. So now when we compare that to everything else, the Most High had cherubim, right? What else did he have on the curtains and stuff, right? They had cherubim on the curtains, right? Which are creatures that Yahawah created from the fourth dimension to the third dimension. So those were on the curtains, also on the Ark of the Covenant. And Solomon also put palm trees, right? Palm trees on there. So he had all sorts of, Solomon and Yahawah had all kinds of things. What was holding up the laver? I believe it was it was like animal shapes that was holding up the wash basin, like bulls, but we didn't worship the bull. Okay? The Most High said that Issachar is like a strong donkey, but we don't worship the donkey. But we see in Israel pictures like, okay, this is representing the donkey, all right, or of lion. We see pictures of pomegranates and palm trees also on coins that they found from Jerusalem. So we didn't worship these things. So that's the prohibition on making these things to worship, okay? So in this fourth aliyah, all right, it's an aliyah that's going to prescribe the procedure for consecrating Aaron and his sons as priests. And his sons were brought to the door of the sanctuary, and they were immersed into a pool, all right, to be cleansed ritually, and were dressed in the priestly garments. And then Moses offered the sacrifices for their inauguration, for them to begin their service. He offered up sacrifices on their behalf. So really, Moses was like the first priest of the nation of Yasharallah. But he was a priest to the priest. He never made any sacrifice on behalf of the whole nation, but he made sacrifice on behalf of the priest. So he was even above the priest. He wasn't of the Aaronic order, even though he did come from Amram's family. Everybody understand that? So he made those sacrifices, but he made them for Aaron, and I'm letting you know that Yahawah wanted Aaron to be under Moses and wanted Moses to make the sacrifice, and then Aaron was inaugurated. And once Aaron was set up, now Moses' sacrifices are done through Aaron and them. Everybody understand that? So, and Moses is not like, nah, I'm going to keep doing these sacrifices forever. All right? Next reader.
Amadwa, Barak.
Yabarakaka Yahawah Bashem Yahawashi Hamashiach.
Exodus 29, 1 through 18.
Exodus chapter 29, verse 1. And this is the thing that thou shalt do unto them, to hallow them, to minister unto me in the priest's office. Take 1 young bullock and 2 rams without blemish, and unleavened bread, and cakes unleavened, tempered with oil, and wafers unleavened, anointed with oil. Of wheat and flour shalt thou make them. And thou shalt put them in 1 basket, and bring them in the basket with the bullocks and the 2 rams. And Aharon and his sons thou shalt bring unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shalt wash them with water. And thou shalt take the garments, and put upon Aharon the coat, and the robe of the ephod, and the breastplate, and gird them with the curious girdle of the ephod. And thou shalt put the mitre upon his head, and the holy crown upon the mitre. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and pour it upon his head, and anoint him. And thou shalt bring his sons, and put coats upon them, and thou shalt gird them with girdles, Aharon and his son, and put the bonnets on them. And the priest's office shall be theirs for a perpetual statute. And thou shalt consecrate Aharon and his sons. And thou shalt cause a bullock to be brought before the tabernacle of the congregation, and Aharon and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the bullock. And thou shalt kill the bullock before Yahawah by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And thou shalt take of the blood of the bullock, and put it upon the horns of the altar with thy finger, and pour all the blood beside the bottom of the altar, and take all the fat that covereth the innards, and the caul that is above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and burn them upon the altar. But the flesh of the bullock and his skin and his dung thou shalt burn with fire without the camp. It is a sin offering. And thou shalt also take 1 ram, and Aharon and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the ram. And thou shalt slay the ram, and thou shalt take his blood, and sprinkle it round about upon the altar. And thou shalt cut the ram in pieces, and wash the inwards of him and his legs, and put them unto his pieces, unto his head. And thou shalt burn the whole ram upon the altar. It is a burnt offering unto Yahawah. It is a sweet savor, an offering made by fire unto Yahawah. And that was verse 18.
So we see Yasha'Allah coming into covenant again with the Most High in Exodus chapter 24, verse 8, verse 7 and 8. All right, when we read chapter 24 of Exodus, verses 1 through 8, Yahawah used Mashah to bring us into covenant with him. Okay, so we came into covenant with him. Mashah was the mediator. So man does need a mediator. He was the mediator between us and Yahawah. Khan? He was our mediator. And then once Aaron and all his people got consecrated to Yahawah, now Aaron and his sons are going to be the mediators. And once that priesthood was discontinued in approximately 70 AD, what happened? Yahawah Shih HaMashiach had already been crucified, so now he is standing in as our mediator and as our high priest, consecrated to Yahawah and by Yahawah. Okay? But now we know, where the other priests are now. All right? We know where the other priests are. We know where the family of Aaron is. And we know where Zadok is. And it's time for them to assume a role in resurrecting the nation of Yasha'Allah back to Yahawah in obedience to the Tawrah and also in obedience to the salvation of Yahawah Shih. Okay? So we have to be very careful to stay in line with Yahawah. The Most High, we see everything he's doing, right? He's a power of what? Of order. We can say he's a Alahaya Iraq, Alahaya Sadar. All right? So he's a power of doing things decently and in order. And you have to follow the protocol, the blueprint, the framework, the structure that he's put in place. He gave us people in government that have to meet a specific criteria, right? And if you don't meet that criteria, you can't be in government. If you don't meet that criteria, you're not supposed to be trying to teach his word. What is our foundation as a nation of people? What's our foundation as a nation of people? The Tawrah. So everything we say has to be based on the Tawrah, on the Torah. Hamashiach said that I don't come to destroy the law or the prophets. He came fulfilling the things that were written in those books, those holy books about him. So when he came, we still have responsibility to be obedient, but he didn't come doing anything new. He came setting up what was already written for him to set up, according to the prophecies. So the Tawrat, the Torah, has to be known and used by all of the teachers of Yasharallah, because everybody knew it. Peter, all right, James, Paul, YAHAWAH Mashiach, Nathaniel, all right, Nathaniel, Yahuchanan, John, they all knew the Torah, Tawrat. It's a foundation. Now when we go into Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, those books are written by men that were familiar with the things that happened before they wrote those books. In other words, they knew about the prophets, they knew about YAHAWAH HaMashiach is dead. Is it dead? So they knew about all these things when they first came in to start to teach. So we also have to make sure we're operating in order. There's a way to dress. There's a way to eat. There's a way not to eat. There's things that we should wear as males, females. There's things that we should not wear as males and as females. So we have to know those things and act accordingly. All right? So now let's get the next reader, which is going to be chapter 29, verse 19 through 37. And in this, the Torah is going to continue to describe the procedure for the offering and the consumption of the sacrifices. Yahweh is going to command Moses to repeat this service for 7 days. After that, the consecration will be complete. All right? We also see how the high priests are going to have to be inducted into their offices after that point, like the high priest that's going to come after them. Because all the sons of Aaron and Aaron are being consecrated, but now how does that high priest get put into his office that comes when we get into Jerusalem? So this is a process that Yahweh is going to describe also. Again, illustrating the fact that he's a power of order. So Exodus chapter 39, verse 19 through 37. And adjust that, make sure the sound is right. Chapter 30, I got it. Okay. Well, you read chapter 29, didn't you, Mario? You finished up with verse. Who read to verse 43? So you read 28:43, right? And you read chapter 29, verse 1 through 18, right? Okay. So now we got to go through chapter 29, verses 19 through 38. I mean 37. 19 through 37. Right, 29, 19.
And thou shalt take the other ram, and Aharon and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the ram. Then thou shalt kill the ram, and take of his blood, and put it upon the tip of the right ear of Aharon, upon the tip of the right ear of his sons, and upon the thumb of their right hand, and upon the great toe of their right foot, and sprinkle blood upon the altar round about. And thou shalt take of the blood that is upon the altar, and of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it upon Aharon, and upon his garments, and upon his sons, and upon the garments of his sons with him. And he shall be hallowed, and his garments, and his sons' garments with him.
So that's a stain of honor. Go ahead.
Thou shalt take of the ram the fat, and the rump, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and the soul above the liver, and the two kidneys,
The soul or the caul?
coal, the
Okay.
coal above the liver, and the two kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and the right shoulder, for it is a ram of consecration, and one loaf of bread, and one cake of oiled bread, and one wafer out of the basket of the unleavened bread that is before Yahawah. And thou shalt put all in the hands of Aharon, and in the hands of his sons, and shalt wave them for a wave offering before Yahawah. And thou shalt receive them of their hands, and burn them upon the altar for a burnt offering, for a sweet savor. Yahawah, before Yahawah, is an offering made by fire.
A sweet savor. All right. A sweet savor. So this is a sacrifice that's a sweet savor unto Yahawah. All right, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
And thou shalt take the breast of the ram of Aharon's consecration, and wave it for a wave offering before Yahawah, and it shall be thy part. And thou shalt sanctify the breast of the wave offering, and the shoulder of the heave offering, which is waved, and which is heaved up, of the ram of the consecration, even of that which is for Aharon, and of that which is for his sons. And it shall be Aharon's and his sons by statute forever from the children of Yashar'Allah, for it is a heave offering, and it shall be a heave offering from the children of Yashar'Allah, of the sacrifice of their peace offerings, even their heave offering unto Yahawah. And the holy garments of Aharon shall be his sons after him, to be anointed therein, and to be consecrated in them. And that son that is priest in his stead shall put them on 7 days, when he cometh into the tabernacle of the congregation to minister in the holy place. And thou shalt take the ram of the consecration, and seethe his flesh in the holy place.
Seethe means boiled.
And Aharon and his sons shall eat the flesh of the ram, and the bread that is in the basket by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
So they ate the flesh. Israel's flesh eaters, vegetable eaters, legume eaters, fish eaters, bird eaters. But the bulk of our diet consisted of beans, grains, and vegetables. That's the bulk of our diet. We didn't eat a lot of meat in the ancient times, but we ate meat nonetheless. Quara?
And they shall eat those things wherewith the anointment was made to consecrate and to sanctify them, but a stranger shall not eat thereof, because they are holy. And if aught of the flesh of the consecrations or of the bread remain until the morning, then thou shalt burn the remainder with fire. It shall not be eaten, because it is holy.
Mm-hmm.
And thus shalt thou do unto Aaron and his sons according to all things which I have commanded thee. 7 days thou shalt consecrate them, and thou shalt offer every day a bullock for a sin offering and anointment. And thou shalt cleanse the altar when thou hast made an anointment for it, and thou shalt anoint it to sanctify it. 7 days thou shalt make an anointment for the altar.
Atonement.
An atonement for the altar, and sanctify it. And it shall be an altar most holy. Whatsoever toucheth the altar shall be holy.
Okay. That's your portion. So here again, we see them telling him how Yahawah is showing this is what I want you to do afterwards. And again, Yahawah has these priests, which are these Haitians and some of the people in East Africa, some of the East and West Africa actually, eating this meat. They're eating the meat, but they weren't gluttonous on the meat. But they are eating in the meat. The Bible, the scriptures talked about going overboard, surfeiting on meat. All right, so, but these are part of the sacrifices to install the brothers into their offices. Okay? So they got worked into their offices. When you go into Ecclesiasticus, chapter 37, verse 30, 29 says, be not insatiable in any dainty thing. So don't always want, you got something you always got to have. And you know, usually when it's talking about dainty, it's talking about what? Something that's what? Sweet. Something that's sweet. Because the Most High knows it's going to lead you to where your body can't process these things properly. You're going to get sick. Nor too greedy upon meats. So it said, don't be greedy at meat. So it's saying you don't eat a lot of meat. You can't be eating a quarter pound of beef all day unless you just super duper duper active. Unless you climbing mountains every day, all right? And you putting in other stuff that's gonna help clear out whatever's gonna clog up your veins from that meat. All right, but you can't be eating that much meat every single day. And that's why we sick. Oh, it just so happens, what did the Most High say? For excess of meat bringeth sickness. So the too much meat that you're eating is making people sick. And surfeiting will turn into choler. So you're going overboard and it's gonna make what? Choler is like your just aching in your body and your belly and stuff. Okay? By surfeiting, listen what the Most High said. By surfeiting, overindulging, have many perished. So the Most High is saying you're dying because of how you're eating. But he that taketh heed prolongeth his life. Which means if you cut back your intake of meat, okay? If you eat good things for your body, okay? If you do things and eat things that are going to be good for your stomach, the Most High says that you can prolong your life. But he that taketh heed prolongeth his life. Right there. All right? But watch the meat that you're eating. Where's this meat coming from? Is it clean? Is it halal? Is it kosher? Okay? You should know where your meat is coming from. Where's your fish coming from? Where's that deer, that elk, that caribou that you're eating? Where's it coming from? See? You can't just go to grocery stores and just, I'm going to buy this meat. You can't do that because that meat is unclean. It's literally unclean because they're using the same blades, bandsaws, tools, knives, to cut your meat. So you eating little residual pig on that steak that you bought from the grocery store. You eating pig a lot of times. Now they might have some cross-contamination preventative measures that they put in place, but Yahawah said, whatever touches this meat is going to be unclean to you, which means that saw is not clean. That blade is not clean. That machine is not clean. You understand? So this is what Yahawah is saying. So now we look at the Levites. The Most High is not just the Levites. Every Levite is not a priest. Because you have Levites. Levites tend to think that they all priests. Nobody was the ones carrying the stuff, right? Nobody was the ones hauling the tabernacle, taking down the tabernacle, standing guard at the temple. Nobody was the one that had to carry the big furniture. All of them was the priest. Every Levite think he's the priest. So Levi have different jobs. Remember, some of the Levites were singers also. Some of them were singers. All of them were priests to do the sacrifices. All right? Some of the Levites were singers. Some of the Levites were just specialized in learning and teaching the Torah. All right? So let's go to the sixth reading. The sixth reading is going to instruct Yasharallah to offer 2 burnt offerings every day forever, which includes right now. 1 lamb in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. And Yahweh promises to dwell in the tabernacle, and that promise was transferred over to the temple. So now Hamashiach stands in for us as that sacrifice, as our high priest, because we can't make those sacrifices now. When we go back into our land, the sacrifices will be made again. Ezekiel talks about it. You can read from Ezekiel chapter 44 to the end of the chapter. So sacrifices are going to be offered up again. Hamashiach is the sacrifice for our sins to get us back in the state where Adam was at. All right? But remember now, in the temple, and you're still going to be doing sacrifices, and we are going to be walking sinless in our right mind, but just loving Yahweh more than we can imagine loving him now. Now, the other people, we're going to be what? Priests to the other people. They're going to come to Jerusalem grabbing the skirt of him that is Yahweh, saying, teach us about Yahweh. Teach us about your laws. So we're going to be teaching the other nations, and they're going to be messing up as we're teaching them, and those sacrifices are still going to be offered up. All right, so in chapter 28, chapter 29, verse 38 through 46, we're going to go to the sixth aliyah. All right. Actually, I'll go to it. Chapter 29, verse 38 through 46. Which is going to be the last to the end of the chapter. Now this is that which thou shalt offer upon the altar. 2 lambs of the first year, day by day continually. The 1 lamb thou shalt offer in the morning, and the other lamb thou shalt offer at even. And with the 1 lamb, a 10th deal of flour mingled with the 4th part of a hin of beaten oil, and the 4th part of an hin of wine for a wine offering. And the other lamb thou shalt offer at even, and shalt do thereunto according to the meat offering of the morning, and according to the drink offering thereof for a sweet savor, an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. This shall be a continual burnt offering throughout your generations at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before Yahweh. There will I meet you to speak there unto thee. And there I will meet with the Banya Yasharallah, and the tabernacle shall be sanctified for my glory. And I will sanctify the tabernacle of the congregation and the altar. I will sanctify also both Aharon and his sons to minister unto me in the priest's office. And I will dwell among the children of Yasharallah, and will be their Elohim. And they shall know that I am Yahweh, Elohim, that brought them forth out of the land of Matazarium, that I may dwell among them. I am Yahweh, their power. Okay, last aliyah, 7th one. Chapter 30, verse 1 through 10. Now this last aliyah is going to describe the incense altar. Also, let me say this real quick. When it tells us evening, right? In the Hebrew, it says bayan ha'irabyam, which means between the evenings. So bayan ha'irabyam, between the evenings. So we have a multiple of evenings And then we have something happening between the evenings. Even though Yahweh said what? The evening and the morning were the first day. But now we see that the evening can have different phases. Okay? We have different phases in the evening, right? We have the dusk and the dawn when there's little light, right? Called the nashap. That's called the nashap. And we have when the sun starts to go down, and we have the shade coming on after 3 p.m., which is the tzalal, which means shade or shadow. And then we have the dark part of the evening, which we call night, which is called the iltah in the Hebrew, I-L-T-A-H. So here we see that this evening is not just one time a day, but it has 3 different phases, number 1. Number 2, if evening and the morning were the first day, and that's the 2 divisions of day that Yahweh gave us, the evening part of the day and the morning part of the day, that means that nighttime belongs in the evening. That means that the afternoon belongs in the morning. We just have divisions that we've given these days. All right? Actually, the nighttime will probably go into the Irab, because it's happening between the evenings. Okay? But that evening has 3 different ways that we can express evening. Everybody understand that? So when we say between the evenings, we call it the afternoon in the English, but in the Hebrew it's bayan ha'irabim, between the evening, which evening literally in Hebrew means eye, head, house, or home, right? That's what it literally means. It's the drawing of a circle, which is represent Iyan, your eye on your face. The next letter is a Ra'ash, which means what? Which means head. And the next letter is the Bayath, which means what? House. So it means eye, head, house. That's what it literally means. So we can see this happening, leaving or coming. Your eye looking toward the house, and your head, or your eye looking away from the house to leave out from the Bayath. Okay, because we don't have a Dalath there. There's no Dalath. There's no door. It's just eye, head, and home. You can go, okay? So that's the evening. And during these sacrifices, remember we had prayers that were going up. Everybody would go to the temple for the morning and the afternoon sacrifice. At the 6th hour, at the 3rd hour of the day, approximately 9 a.m., and at the 9th hour of the day, which is approximately 3 p.m. So we'll send special prayers up at that time. And that special prayer was called the Minka or Mancha. In the afternoon, it was called the Mancha Minka, right? The sunrise. So 3 hours after that, we said the prayer after sunrise. Then afternoon prayers, which is the time of Hamashiach being murdered, crucified. We say crucified, but it was really a murder. So him being murdered happened during the time of the sacrifice in the afternoon. And when Peter and them went to the temple, it says that they went into the temple to pray, being about, it said that it was the hour of prayer. In Acts chapter 3, verse 1, it says it was the hour of prayer. Now, for some reason, in front of prayer. So it says the hour of what? Of the prayer. So the hour of the prayer is talking about the Amidah prayer. The Amidah is called Hatefilah. It's called the prayer. It's literally called the prayer. And you can write me, and I can send you the official Banya Yashar Allah Amidah prayer. All right? And it addresses all aspects. It addresses health. It addresses unity. It addresses honor and respect for our fathers, the ancestors before us in the scriptures. It addresses the holiness of Yahawah. It addresses the return of the Messiah. It addresses the rise of King David. It talks about the resurrection of the dead. It talks about thankfulness to Yahawah. It talks about repentance. We have so many different aspects that need to be addressed, that are addressed in this prayer, that we say at least once a day at the 9th hour, approximately 3 p.m. Jerusalem time. So this is a very strong prayer. It's the Amidah. Now the abbreviated form of the Amidah is the Lord's Prayer. It is the abbreviated form of the Amidah. The elements that are found inside of the Amidah are found inside of the Lord's Prayer also. Okay, so we're in chapter 30, verses 1 through 10.
Exodus chapter 30, verse 1. And thou shalt make an altar to burn incense upon it. Of shittim wood thou shalt make it. A cubit shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof. 4 square shall it be, and 2 cubits shall be the height thereof. The horns thereof shall be of the same. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, the top thereof, and the sides thereof round about, and the horns thereof, and thou shalt make unto it a crown of gold round about. And 2 golden rings shalt thou make to it under the crown of it, by the 2 corners thereof, upon the 2 sides of it shalt thou make it. And they shall be for places for the staves to bear it withal. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold. And thou shalt put it before the veil that is by the ark of the testimony, before the mercy seat that is over the testimony, where I will meet with thee. And Aharon shall burn thereon sweet incense every morning when he dresseth the lamps, he shall burn incense upon it. And when Aharon lighteth the lamps at even, he shall burn incense upon it, a perpetual incense before Yahawah throughout your generations. Ye shall offer no strange incense thereon, nor burnt sacrifice, nor meat offering, neither shall you pour drink offering thereon. And Aharon shall make an atonement upon the horns of it once in a year, with the blood of the sin offering of atonements. Once in a year shall he make atonement upon it throughout your generations. It is most holy unto Yahawah.
So this is a special incense altar, and we know the incense was made out of very precious spices and very precious resin, including frankincense, cinnamon, galbanum. Was it galbanum? And then just different expensive and very, very odoriferous, if you will, things that smell really good. See, the Most High, you know, he likes good smells. He likes nice things. All right, the Most High wasn't just some bummy God that said, just tie a shoestring around your waist and put a lion cloth on you and come. He said, nah, bro, you gotta do this thing right. I want some silver, I want some gold, I want precious stones, I want the most finest, expensive dyes that you all can get. And I want silver sockets. And I want this fine wool and linen. So the Most High Yahawah wanted all of those types of things. So he likes nice things, and he wants us to like nice things. We should always smell good. We should look good. We represent the royal rulers. I don't think people grasp the reality that you represent the eternal royal family of the planet Earth forever. Not a Mexican, not a Puerto Rican, not a Dominican, not a Black American, not a Haitian, not a Jamaican. You represent the royalty, eternal royalty, forever. So when people see you, that's what they should see. They shouldn't see a skettle. They shouldn't see a thought. They shouldn't see a gangster and a thug. They should see royalty, your clothes, your tunics, how you smell. Should always look good. Even when you're out there working on something, you should be looking good. Whatever I do, you can best believe I'm always gonna look good. Because I don't want people to see me and be like, man, what type of God they serving? Oh, bummy, dirty Negro. And we get down. We work in the fields. I turn over dirt, turn over soil, work on cars. Try not to get dirty too long. Always try to represent the holiness of your people. Even if you out there working, doing something, still look good. Get a washing machine. If you're out there doing stuff where you're going to get dirty, put on dark clothes. So the oil or the dirt ain't going to show up too good. If you're going out, get yourself some camouflage. If you're going to be out there in the garden too much, get you some camouflage or a pattern or print where your dirt from the garden ain't going to show up. Get you dark colors if you're going to be doing stuff black, preferably if you're going to be doing something on the vehicle, because it ain't going to show up as much on the vehicle. But it's going to show up on the clothes. That brown and black is not going to mix good. So when you're working outside, you're going to need something darker where that brown can blend in, like some type of print where it can blend in. And then when you go to meet YAHAWAH, it's a holy convocation. So look good in holiness. You see how the Most High have his priests dressing. And if we're supposed to be a nation of priests, we should be in that same mentality or mindset, man. We're supposed to be the light of the world. We represent the Son of YAHAWAH. We're followers of Hamashiach. Man, the scripture says Hamashiach, they were fighting over his clothes, gambling over his clothes when he died, when he was getting murdered, crucified at his trial. They were gambling for his clothes. They were gambling for his clothes. Like it was Prada or Parasuco or something. Man, I got to get this garment. This one right here. His garment, some of his garments look so good, they said, man, we got to rip this and divide it amongst us. And they probably took that and made something else with it. But then his one garment that was woven, they said, nah, we got to gamble for this one, bro. We can't split this. We got to gamble for this one. This is too nice. All right? Not to be materialistic or vain, but we have to represent who we are. Scripture says that the way you dress tells what you are. The way you walk tells what you are. The way you laugh tells what you are. Not what you say from your mouth, but what people see. And that's why they say don't judge a book by its cover. So you don't got to go over and above beyond the shadow of a doubt like this dude is just swimming. Not saying make it so you swimming in gold chips, but look clean, look nice, have your fringes, your border of blue. Your hair should look decent. Should be combed or brushed, braided, ponytailed, or picked out. And if you got on your tunic, if you got on your turban, or your women have your women have your head covered, then no sweat. You might get a carefree hair day. We just put your tunic on. You put your head cover on, your scarf, it looks nice. Not knowing what it looks underneath though. Underneath may be a challenge. So when you appear before YAHAWAH on a Shabbat, even if you can't go nowhere, you still present yourself before YAHAWAH on your knees and worship him on his holy day as a day of worship. Even if you're in the house, even if you can't go to a convocation, you might be tama'ah. You might be on your period or something. You might just came from a funeral and you can't go to a convocation, but your mindset needs to be pure and holy on that day and present yourself before YAHAWAH. Okay? Present yourself before YAHAWAH and worship him and go into his laws, commandments, and statutes during that time period. Okay? Con? All right, so next we're going to go into the Hapata reading, right, which is going to be the book of Ezekiel, chapter 43, verse 13. Right, Ezekiel 43, verse 10 through 27. So that's going to go into Ezekiel, is going to describe the vision of the altar that's going to be built for the third holy temple and the dedication ceremony. All right. Shortly after the destruction of the first temple, Ezekiel saw a vision of the third temple. Yahawah tells Ezekiel to tell Yasha'Allah his vision. And that hope is going to make us ashamed of the deeds that we did that caused the destruction of the temple. And if they are ashamed of what they have done, let them know the form of the house and the details of the house and the exits and the entrances and all of the forms and the laws and the things that have to be taught about the temple of Yahawah. So Ezekiel then goes on to describe in detail the third temple's altar, and also he describes the 7-day inauguration ceremony and the offerings that's going to be brought each day of that special week. So showing us that before Hamashiach, during Hamashiach, and in the new temple after Hamashiach, the sacrifice is still going to be put in place. Still going to be being offered up. Even though we will be redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, Yahawashi Hamashiach, that them sacrifices is still going to be in effect. So Ezekiel chapter 43, verses 10 through 27.
Thou son of man, show the house to the house of Yasha'Allah, that they may be ashamed of their iniquities, and let them measure the pattern. And if they be ashamed of all that they have done, show them the form of the house, and the fashion thereof, and the goings out thereof, and the comings in thereof, and all the forms thereof, and all the ordinances thereof, and all the forms thereof, and all the laws thereof, and write it in their sight, that they may keep the whole form thereof, and keep the ordinances thereof, and do them. This is the law of the house upon the top of the mountain, the whole limit thereof round about shall be most holy. Behold, this is the law of the house. And these are the measures of the altar after the cubits. The cubit of an handbreadth. The cubit is a cubit and a handbreadth. Even the bottom shall be a cubit, and the breadth a cubit, and the border thereof by the edge thereof round about shall be a span. And this shall be the higher place of the altar. And the bottom of the ground, and from the bottom upon the ground, even to the lower settle shall be 2 cubits, and the breadth 1 cubit, and from the lesser settle even to the greater settle shall be 4 cubits, and the breadth 1 cubit. So the altar shall be 4 cubits, and from the altar and upward shall be 4 horns, and the altar shall be 12 cubits long, 12 broad, square in the 4 squares thereof. And the settle shall be 14 cubits long, and 14 broad in the 4 squares thereof. And the border about it shall be half a cubit, and the bottom thereof shall be a cubit about. And his stairs shall look toward the east. And he said unto me, Son of man, thus saith Yahawah Elohai, these are the ordinances of the altar in the day when they shall make it, to offer burnt offerings thereon, and to sprinkle blood thereon. And thou shalt give to the priests, the Levites, that be the seed of Zadok, which approach unto me, to minister unto me, saith Yahawah Elohai, a young bullock for a sin offering. And thou shalt take of the blood thereof, and put it on the 4 horns of it, and on the 4 corners of the settle, and upon the borders round about it. Thus shalt thou cleanse and purge it. Thou shalt take the bullock also of the sin offering, and he shall burn it in the appointed place of the house without the sanctuary. And on the 2nd day thou shalt offer a kid of the goats without blemish for a sin offering, and they shall cleanse the altar, as they did cleanse it with the bullock. When thou hast made an end of cleansing it, thou shalt offer a young bullock without blemish, and a ram out of the flock without blemish, and thou shalt offer them before YAHAWAH. The priest shall be cast salt upon them, and they shall offer them up for a burnt offering unto YAHAWAH. 7 days shalt thou prepare every day a goat for sin offering. They shall also prepare a young bullock and a ram out of the flock without blemish. 7 days shall they purge the altar and purify it, and they shall consecrate themselves. And when these days are expired, it shall be that upon the 8th day and so forward, the priest shall make your burnt offerings upon the altar, and your peace offerings, and I will accept you, saith YAHAWAH.
Adanya Yahawah.
Adonai YAHAWAH. That's 27.
Yeah. So here we see in the new kingdom that we're still going to be offering up sacrifices unto YAHAWAH. Okay, unto YAHAWAH. So in this Torah portion, we see 8 different commandments pertaining to the priest. To light the menorah every day, twice a day. That the priests have to wear the priestly garments during their service to YAHAWAH. That the high priest breastplate cannot be loosened from the ephod. Okay, not to tear the priestly garments. That the priest must eat the sacrificial meat in the temple, and that any non-priest cannot eat the sacrificial meat. The incense must be burned every day, and that we can't burn anything on the golden altar besides incense. Okay? So these are the different laws that we see. And again, from these different laws and commandments, we can always extract a certain morality, a certain principle that we can apply to our lives, because that's never going to be a bad thing to do. What's bad is trying to make it mandatory, make it religious for somebody to do what you're doing because of what you read inside the law. Okay? So we see that special clothes are to be worn by these priests. Why? Because they're holy. They're holy. They're set apart. So when you come before the Most High to pray, should you come in the same clothes that you got finished playing basketball or shooting pool or bowling in? Do you have a distinct set of clothes? The whole day is holy. So everything around that day should be holy. So am I going to go before the Most High on a Shabbat holy day with a t-shirt and jeans on with some sneakers? Does that say holy unto the Most High? No. It says, I don't want to be inconvenienced by going and buying or looking for something special, so I'm going to just wear this. All right? You should have on new undergarments, fresh undergarments, clean undergarments, socks. All the other undergarments should be clean on the Shabbat day. Especially. Okay? Some people may not be able to do these things every day for various reasons. Everybody doesn't have the resources. And what was that? We saw the guy the other day, right, in Burundi. The 16-year-old boy, man, whatever you want to call him, had a wife. And now look at this, man. Look at, like, you know, the guy was a Christian. Didn't know nothing about Israel. Didn't follow Islam, even though there's Muslims in the country. But how many outfits did he have? He had 2 outfits. This is a man that's living, they say people making, what, 90 cents a day, right? Some people making 90 cents a day. And these are guys that's riding bikes 20 miles a day, carrying loads. getting paid 90 cents a dollar a day. So when people say, oh yeah, for $1 a day you can feed a family somewhere, believe that's not a lie. Some places you can. But this is the point I want to make to you. There's an Israelite philosopher, his name is Baruch Spinoza. He said, Nitimir invititum semper, cupi misce negata. Cupi misce negata. Nitimir invititum semper, cupi misce negata. Which means we always resist prohibition and yearn for what is denied us. Meaning if there's something in place, they don't do something, we're going to want to do it. If there's something in place that people are denying us of, we're going to want to get that thing because we're being denied. Right? In the normal circumstances. So this guy, he's denied the right, he's denied he don't have clothes. The guy had 2 outfits. I can show you that. I can send a link to anybody that want to see that program. I mean, it was just the poverty over there. You're like, man, either y'all was some bad Hamites or some wicked Israelites. One or the other.
Where?
Burundi. Now, we actually know people from the tribe of Judah, from Burundi, that's living in refugee camps that have set up places of worship, worshiping Yahawah, following Yahawah as the Messiah in a refugee camp. And when you see the guys' pictures that they wear on the Shabbat, man, they got on white garments in a refugee camp with this dirt and red soil all around. And they made the bricks with their hands and made the building and put a roof on it. In Tanzania, with the border of Burundi, at a refugee camp. Claiming Yasha Allah. And say, yeah, we the tribe of Judah, and these guys over here who we fight and don't get along with, they're the tribe of Reuben. But now they get along a little better. And all throughout the country, yeah, we Jews. They all know that they're Israelites. Small countries. Small countries, man. This country the size of cities in America. But anyway, one of the guys on the video, right? He said he only had 1 outfit to wear. I hope he got 2 pair of undergarments. But he got 1 outfit to wear. He wear that same outfit every day. He has another, I say he had 1 or 2 outfits. He has 2 outfits. Can you guess what his other outfit is for? Who can guess? Close. Not for Shabbat. You saw it, you didn't see it. What do you think his other outfit is for? Not for the holy days. Maybe for the holy days, but that's not what he said from his, that's not what they said on the show.
The new moon?
Close. You hot. You burning hot.
Passover.
Well, no, you're not burning hot. His other outfit was not to Shabbat or the new moon, but it was to pray in. Money had two outfits. 1 outfit was for every day, and the other outfit was, man, this is my praying clothes. Got nothing. Living in an adobe mud house, but saying, man, these are my special clothes to pray in. And here we are, thinking that T-shirts with fringes and border blue is the uniform for the Israelites. You see? So when we look at the priest and the garments that the priest had that they wore, we also have to, in our minds, say we need to have something that sets our appearance apart on this holy day. You see? So a special type of, not saying something that's mandatory, but it is an act or a show of what? A show of wisdom. Wisdom is about counsel, what is good, what is pleasing unto the Most High. You got some people like, well, is it a law? Where is that at in the Torah? Is it in the Torah? Like, man, you don't even use the Torah.
Or read from it.
Right? So there's a lot of stuff that we do that we don't see written verbatim in the Torah. Like a woman covering her head when she prayed, because that was part of the culture of Israel. There was no certain law written about it. But we see Paul talking about it in Corinthians. So we know that that's something that we did. And we know that the things that were written aforetime were written for our what? Instruction, understanding, edification. To have a way to walk. We know we're supposed to be seeking the old path, the ancient path. Right from Jeremiah 16:6. We know that. Oh, it's coming on you. All right, so the point is that now we make sure that we have a specific things that we're gonna put on when these holy days come around. Look good, look clean, smell good. Go to the herb store and get you some bergamot and get some frankincense or some myrrh. Okay, get you some spikenard. All right, get you some essential oil. Get some lavender. Don't use too much of it. And you know what else you can get? Some black pepper oil. That's what's in all your perfumes and oils. And mix it together. And on a special holy day come, get your olive oil and mix all that in your hand. Because you got to have a carrier. And then put it on your neck, behind your ears, on your wrists, all right? Around your ankles, by the left and right side of your Achilles heel, right? Behind your knee, in front of your knee, at the forward of your elbow, right? Those are your what they call that, pulse points, right? That flex and move. Your elbow and your knees are moving usually all the time. And if you're a man, put something right here at the tip of your beard. So now when you're talking, make sure your breath is smelling good. And as you're talking, the air from your mouth is going to carry that smell that's on your beard to the listener. They're going to love to hear you talk. You can be saying jabba, jabba, jabba. They'll be like, man, what's that smell? What's that smell? So this is the things that YAHAWAH is demonstrating and showing. He's showing us what he likes. That's what people say. What is this and what's that? They say, I can show you, but I can tell you. Right? So YAHAWAH is saying, I want the priest to do X, Y, Z, 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 Z. Does that mean the rest of us is running around dirty? Funky? No. The whole nation was a kingdom of priests. Kingdom of what? Rulers. In Revelation chapter 1, verse 6. Kings and priests. How's a king and priest gonna be looking? Even this guy, man, who was looking at that program with me with the guy, was that it was in Uganda. The guy didn't look like a typical, I'm telling you, it's Israelites scattered all throughout East Africa. But this one guy, he was the chief, the king of the village. People didn't give him money. He made a living off of things and crops that he sold. Didn't get money from the people. He was just in charge of problems, right? So he's like a judge, an officer, judge in that territory. Anybody see that program with me? And people in the village looking like they going through something, a little struggle a little bit. But his garment for his office was like a real nice burgundy color with gold trim around the sleeve and around the collar and around the side of the garment. Like a vest. It's more like a vest. So that, like this right here I got on. It was gold. Then on the back, it had like some words and then a design on the back of it. But he's in poverty. He's in poverty. And what we would call poverty, he got land, he got water. So he ain't as poor as we think, he is. He got some seeds, he got some land, he got some water, but his house was modest. His bathroom was outside, his shower was outside. And when you leave America, you see a lot of showers and baths are outside in a certain area. when I went into the village of Huehuetan, the bathroom and the shower was outside. When I went to the Mayan village, the bathroom and shower were outside. Certain parts of Belize, they build the bathroom outside the house. They build the bathroom outside the house. That's why they call it the what? The outhouse. Now, some of them showers and stuff are outside the house, but they still flush. They still had toilets inside of them, but they were outside, away from the house. You see, and that might be for sanitary reasons, might be for convenience reasons of not having to put pipes in 20 different places, but just running along one main line and you build your bathroom off of that. We don't know why they did it like that. But the point is that they had the bathroom and stuff outside in this particular part of Uganda. But the king of this village, he was clean. I mean, he was clean. His garment was clean. So here we have two examples of places that they call third world countries, where the people have enough sense. I'm going to pray to Yahawah. Let me have a special set of clean clothes to wear when I pray to the God of Israel. I'm the leader of this village. Let me have my special robe that I put on when I'm operating in my capacity. So the minimum requirement is border, blue, and fringe. That's the minimum requirement. But what office are you representing? You see? What office are you representing? When people look at you, do they think, oh, this guy is serious about Hebrew culture? Or do they think, oh, this guy is doing synchronism? He's merging American culture with Israelite culture. You see that? What do they see? What story are you telling? You see? So now, these are 8 laws that we have from today. All right? Don't burn anything on that golden altar except for incense. And that's in Exodus chapter 30, verse 9. Offer no strange incense. All right? Nor meat offering, neither shall you pour drink offerings. Now, you did, Aaron, I'm talking about Aaron, the sacrifices, and it's boring. No, it's not boring. There's like every word, every through your actions. All right? Now, the priest shall eat the sacrificial meat in the temple. Where'd that come from? Remember at the first Passover, the Most High showed us that example. He said, that we have. Don't take it outside the house. During the Passover sacrifice that we did in Israel, burn whatever's left in the morning. It's almost a how do you call it? It's almost profaning the priest's breastplate when you walk around. Now, this is my perspective and my perception. The breastplate was the breastplate.
No.
You got one of the most holy pieces of jewelry, not beyond jewelry, with 12 precious stones with the names of the children of Israel, and you want to reduce it to a t-shirt. Or a piece of jewelry, a ring, or necklace, bracelet, a dangle from a bangle. For what? That's for the high priest to go before the Most High in. And we reducing it to, now the menorah, granted, we see the menorah on coins. We see the menorah drawn on buildings in ancient Israel, on houses, temples. We see it in the catacomb graffiti, old buildings that they find. So we know that was used respectfully, but it was used. So the Bible gives a certain amount of high degree of holiness to that ephod. So it's not something that we should be, it's not something that I should even pretend or imagine that I'm going to wear what the high priest, well, Yahawah, it ain't what the high priest made. Screen, it's a silk screen, with iron on, It's what's that? Sublimation. What's the word? Is that the word in English? Sublimation. Is that what they say? That's what they say. Is sublimation. Was heat press? No. That's sacred and holy. Only one man in the whole nation could wear it. Imagine. All right, last point. Matthew chapter 5, verse 13 through 20.
Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost its flavor, wherewith shall it be salted?
So everything you do should be with flavor. Should be with flavor. Should be palatable to people. All right? Go ahead.
It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men.
So we were good for nothing. We lost our flavor. How do we lose our flavor? How do we lose our savory taste? By going after other gods. Most I say, y'all good for nothing now. I'm going to let you and your city be trodden down under the foot of men, and you're going to be destroyed. You see? So now, coming back to YAHAWAH, now we have to put that flavor back in what we do. Read.
Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
We represent YAHAWAH and YAHWH Sheh HaMashiach, like a light on a hill. So when they see us, they should see a reflection of the Most High Power Creator. They see a reflection of mercy, repentance, salvation, and grace. Go ahead.
Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
When you have the Torah and you have YAHWH Sheh HaMashiach, that's the light. And then you're the light. When you take that and you take away from it and you don't operate in the fullness of who you are and what you are, you putting your light under the bushel. When you say, I'm not going to wear a tunic, I'm going to wear a t-shirt. When you say, I'm not going to wear a turban or a headband, I'm going to wear a fitted cap. You putting your light under the bushel. When you have your tunic and your turban, and you walking in Torah, and your life demonstrates how the Messiah walked. You walking in the life of Hamashiach, in his footsteps, now you're that light on the hill. Not to mention the fact the Most High said he's going to punish those that are in what? Strange apparel. People wearing strange apparel. All right? So your light got to shine. But if your light is shining, who's it shining for? Is it shining for Israel? We see what the people did to King David's men. When they had the tunics on, what did they do? They cut the tunics to their buttocks, which is the length of what? What's that the length of? A t-shirt. That was a shame. That was an embarrassment for them. That was a disrespect to them.
And their beard.
And then cut their beard in half. Cut off one side of their beard and left the other side there. You see? So that garment length was very important in ancient Yasharallah. And when they messed with the garment length, it was done out of disrespect. You don't deserve to wear this tunic, this long tunic. All you deserve is half of a tunic. That's what you deserve. So we're going to cut your tunic in half. We're going to disgrace you. All right, go ahead.
Let your light so shine before men.
Let your light shine before men. Let men see you and see your light and represent YAHAWAH. Go ahead.
That they may see your good works and to glorify your Father which is in heaven.
All praise to the Most High when they see you. Go ahead.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets.
Did he come to destroy the law of the prophets? Did he come to make the law not have to be obeyed anymore? Did he come to do something new? To establish something new? To do away with what was before him? Did he come to bring any type of new culture of Israel? No. He came to restore the culture of mercy, love, and grace that Yahawah showed toward Adam and Chawah and not destroying them. Even that he showed toward Cain and not destroying Cain, but giving Cain a space to repent. Go ahead.
I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
I'm not coming to destroy the law. I came to fulfill what the law says about me. We can see that in where? Luke 24, verse 44. He says he came to fulfill the things written in the prophets, the Psalms, and in the law pertaining to him. Go ahead.
For verily I say unto you,
Mm-hmm.
till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from law.
So the whole law is in effect until heaven and earth pass away. So if the heaven and earth is still here, that means that the law is still in place, which includes sacrifice. So Hamashiach stepped in to be our sacrifice. Go ahead.
Till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments,
Whoever breaks the laws of the Most High. The smallest one, like what? Like, oh, you can't work here with a beard. You got to cut your beard off if you want to work at this place. That's a small commandment. Oh, that's the least commandment. It's beard. Oh, don't round the corners of your head. We know going into don't make yourself bald. That's a small commandment. You ain't tripping on that. Most High don't really care about that. So you can cut your beard off, get your job. Whoever break the least commandment shall what?
and shall teach men.
So if you break the commandments and you teach a man, oh, you don't got to keep this commandment. We in captivity.
You can compromise.
You don't got to do this. Man, you got to do what you want to, you do what you got to do to survive, man. You know, you got to eat. You got to take care of your family, your children. You can't do that way now. You're in captivity. So you teach them men to break the commandments. Man, if you got to, you know, if you got to break the commandment if you got to work on the Shabbat for your job, man, you got to take care of your family, man. We in captivity. So you tell them, oh, go ahead and do that, man. You're in captivity. Which is a capital crime. So what's the difference between that and you going into jail to be with a man? Both of them are capital crimes. So you mean tell me the Most High is going to overlook one capital crime? Is he respect to a person?
No.
Is he respect to a person? So if one capital crime is committed, how he going to excuse another capital crime? So the same judgment that's going to come upon a man that's laying with another man, which is an abomination to Yahawah, is the same punishment going to come upon a man that's breaking the Shabbat, that's working on the Shabbat. Same judgment. All right, go ahead.
He shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
What does that mean? He should be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Shall any sin enter into the kingdom? How's he going to call somebody the least in the kingdom if they ain't going to be in the kingdom? The least of the kingdom is talking about right now, the kingdom of heaven is saying this guy is the least. He's going to be called least in the kingdom of heaven. So that you're going to have a bad name in the kingdom right now. Because no sin is going to make it into the kingdom of the Most High. Scriptures say flesh and blood will not inherit the kingdom. If you break the commandments, you will not inherit the kingdom. If you say you love me and keep my commandments, the scripture says you a liar. Sin is transgression of the law. So if you break the commandments, you ain't going to make it to the kingdom. The least one or the greatest one. So you break the commandment, the kingdom, if you're breaking the commandment, the kingdom of heaven is looking down, saying what? Saying this guy is the least, meaning he's nothing. He's nothing. That's what it means. It don't mean when you get to the kingdom of heaven, you breaking the commandments, they're going to say, oh, you the least in the kingdom. Even David said, I'd rather be a what? I'd rather be a person that open and shut the door in the kingdom. I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the kingdom, which is the least job. So does that mean, oh yeah, I can break the commandments and I'll be a doorkeeper in the kingdom? No. That means that the kingdom of heaven is saying this guy is nothing right now. So we call least in the kingdom of heaven. So in the kingdom of heaven right now, they're saying Parazai is the least. Parazai is nothing because he's teaching people they can break the commandments. But what's the other part of that? Read.
But who's
Real quick, in Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 8. And it shall come to pass in the day of Yahawah's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king's children and all such as are clothed with strange apparel. So you want to wear that strange apparel? The Most High said what? The Most High said he's going to punish. There's going to be a sacrifice. Punish the princes. The Most High got something waiting for those people that want to wear that strange apparel. Okay? Let's go back to Matthew so we can finish up. Go ahead.
But whosoever shall do and teach them.
Whoever does the commandments and what?
And teach them.
Teach what?
The commandments.
Teach them.
So whoever teach the commandments shall be called what?
The same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
The kingdom is saying that you are great when you're doing and teaching the commandments. They're calling you great. When you're teaching people the commandments, they're calling you great. So even though you may have other topics that need to be taught, other topics that get taught, other topics that people need to learn, the highest level of greatness comes from teaching the commandments. So now you have to learn how to incorporate all these other things into the Torah. How many subjects have we covered now in the Torah and the Tawada? How many aspects outside the Tawada? How many quotes from the so-called, from the New Testament? From the words that were written around the life of Hamashiach and after, the Besorah. How many references have gone outside of the first 5 books? Now we in Matthew. So we were in the commandments. We went from the commandments to how the priests were dressing, telling the priests how to dress, and then we jumped from there all the way to Revelation, chapter 1, verse 6. And we could have quoted 5 and 10, but we didn't quote that one. So all that's there. So the whole book is one volume. Because Hamashiach came in the volume of the book. It is written of him. Okay? So whosoever shall do the commandments and teach men so shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
For I say unto you,
What'd you say on? What's he saying unto us?
that accept your righteousness.
Your righteousness, your sincere deeds, your sincere good works toward Yahawah, toward each other. Accept your righteousness what?
Shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees.
So people want to talk about the scribes and Pharisees, but they are the mark to strive toward
The bar.
in their actions. But in righteousness and sincerity. Not saying, well, the Pharisees did this, so I'm not going to do it. But saying the Pharisees did this, but I'm going to do it the right way and in righteousness. The Pharisees say, oh, I pay 1/10 of everything I got. I fast twice a week. And then the man beside him said, Yahawah, forgive me, a sinner. And Yahawah, she said, this man should be paying these tithes. But what about mercy? What about grace? You see that? So mercy and grace and the law, they don't cancel out each other. They don't cancel out each other. So the Pharisees were doing the written laws, but they lacked the mercy and the grace, the spirit of the law. So we have to walk in the spirit of the law, which allows us to fulfill the law in love and in mercy and in grace. Operating under the fruits of the Spirit. Operating under what? The 7 pillars of wisdom. Go ahead.
You shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
So, if you don't go beyond the righteousness of the Pharisees, you ain't getting into the kingdom. So everybody says, are you a Pharisee? You a Pharisee. First of all, Pharisee meant set apart. And the scriptures tell us to be holy, which we know is a form of being set apart. Okay. So the kingdom of the Most High. We have to operate within the kingdom of the Most High. We have to operate within obedience to the Most High. And we have to go above and beyond where the Pharisees are, where the Pharisees were. They knew the commandments. They knew the law. But they add to the law and they put more emphasis on the traditions of men. And let me tell you something. A lot of people now, they can't even be a Pharisee. They can't even, Paul was a Pharisee. The Pharisees were professional students of the Torah, but then they went into the traditions of the elders and let that go over the Torah. That was the problem. That's why Hamashiach was scolding them in Mark chapter 7. He was scolding them in Mark chapter 7. And he told them that you putting the commandments and the traditions of the elders. You laying aside the commandments of YAHAWAH and teaching for doctrine the tradition of men. In Mark chapter 7, verse 5 all the way down to verse 9. It shows you that whole picture in those 5 verses. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bible verse math is different than regular math. Okay, because you got to count the number you're starting at. So it is verse 5, 6, 7, and 9, which gives us 5 verses. Even though you may think, well, 5 to 10 is going to be 5 verses. Now 5 to 10 is 6 verses. So in there, he talks about how people were making up their own commandments and saying that we have to do it this way, but it was following the traditions of elders, the doctrines of men. Full well you reject the commandments of Yahweh, that ye may keep your own tradition. So how can we exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees? By doing the opposite, rejecting the tradition of men and keeping the commandments of Yahweh. Ain't that simple? See, people have the misunderstanding, oh, you a Pharisee. No, you're not a Pharisee when you're keeping the commandments. You're a Pharisee when you're following somebody that says, don't keep the Passover in captivity. That's being a Pharisee, because now you adding to the commandments, rejecting the commandments, following the traditions of men. We don't sacrifice a sheep in Passover, but we eat the meat and we remember the redemption from Egypt and the redemption of our soul by Yahweh HaMashiach. That's what we do in captivity. That's what's commanded to do. He said, keep these things for what? In all your dwellings throughout all generations. We're supposed to keep the Pesach. So that's not being a Pharisee. Being a Pharisee is when you say, I'm not going to keep this law. I'm going to keep this law that the man made. Keep the law. Like, oh, well, don't do no business on the Sabbath. Oh, but I'm about to go do the work of the Lord, man. I'm going to do the work of the Lord, so I got to buy my gas. I've been out here teaching all day doing the work of the Lord. So I need me something to drink, so I'm going to go get me some water. So I'm going to go ahead and get me something to drink, man. Actually, it was something right here. Who's that little, can you pass me a little bottle right there? The water? Yeah, speaking of water, well, you could tell these guys that go out there teaching, man, they didn't help raise their children, did they? They did not help raise their children. Because anybody know you leave the house with a child, especially if you got formula, you got to take water, you got to take a bottle, you got to take some diaper rash, because the baby might get a diaper rash quicker than you can imagine. All right? You got to take some Vaseline maybe. You got to take some snacks. You got to take some wipes. You got to take a washcloth. You got to take a change of clothes. You got to take an extra blanket, and you got to take a jacket. Even if it's in the middle of wintertime, because you might find yourself on the top of somebody's building someplace at a barbecue and it get nighttime and it get windy and cold outside. So you got to prepare when you leave the house with a baby. So how you getting stuck every Shabbat? Oh, I got to buy water for the Shabbat because I'm out here teaching. Or Turkish tea, right? Mm-hmm. or Turkish tea. Man, I'm hungry from teaching the word, man. I'm going to go to McDonald's. I'm going to go to Pizza Hut and give me a slice of pizza. Take the pepperoni off of it. Kwam Yasha Allah. Right? Yeah. Breaking the command. So the Pharisees at least gave an appearance. What did YAHAWAH call them? To let you know they had an appearance of righteousness. What did he call them? A whited what? A whited sepulcher. He said, you look all clean, nice and bright on the outside, but the inside is full of death. But the people now, man, a lot of our people, we ain't even white on the outside. We ain't even keeping no commandments. We ain't even white on the outside, man. We breaking the commandments left and right. So for Israelite to be considered a Pharisee now will be a good thing, because now you got obedience to work off of, and now you can put all that extra man-made stuff out of your repertoire. But they're not even Pharisees yet. So the most YAHAWAH say, you have to exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. You got to go beyond the righteousness of the Pharisees. Right? Are we doing that? This is what the master said. This is not what I made up. This is what the master said. The master said you have to exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees, right? That's what he said. So are we exceeding that righteousness? That's it on that, right? Except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees, scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no wise, in no case, enter into the kingdom. In no case. We didn't get into the kingdom under any circumstances whatsoever, because you were falling short. And when the scripture said, don't be over much righteous and over much wicked, people misunderstand that verse. Because they don't understand the what Paul kind of gave us a clue when he said, these being ignorant of YAHAWAH's righteousness have sought to establish what? Their own righteousness. That's being over righteous. You're going beyond the righteousness that YAHAWAH have stated, and you're going to create something new. It don't mean you're doing like, how can you be over obedient to the Most High?
You can't.
If disobedience is as witchcraft, obedience got to be close to godliness. So how can you be over righteous and it'd be a bad thing to be more godly in your life? You see? So that's the Torah reading for the day, and that's the reading from the Besorah. So it's a pretty, we could have made it shorter, but Amaya kept saying, yeah, tell us more. I want to hear more stuff. So I had to go into different aspects. Okay. So I think that will conclude us for today. The Torah reading for today. Tetzaveh. What is it in the modern? Tetzaveh. 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 In the modern is in the pronunciation is Tetzaveh. I can't handle this is the E, but you're gonna say it as an I. This is the I, you can pronounce it as an A. The paleo the ancient pronunciation is exactly what's written, that's it. No if, no ands, no buts, or suppose. Sorry if I made anybody think about Roxanne. All right, so that's it. Is that all we got, right? Is that all we got? All we got. So this is available on Clubhouse under Banya Yasha'Allah. It's available on YouTube under Banya Yasha'Allah. Also, Banya Yasha'Allah Mashara Yasha'Allah. You know what I'm saying? I think I like the Clubhouse and YouTube better than Facebook because it's stop. It ain't scrolling, stop, and come back. It's stop. I'm here. I'm listening. And you can go to Facebook and everything, still be listening on Clubhouse. Okay. You can read and scroll and all of that. Even on YouTube, if you paying for your YouTube subscription, you can go to YouTube and then be scrolling someplace else too. If you got that type of YouTube account or whatever. All right, so stand by for next week. Hopefully you can join us again. And we got to come back later and do the Torah reading for the 12th day. All right. The Torah reading for the 12th day is going to be, anybody know? Anybody know? What's the not the Torah reading, but the commands? What's the command reading for today? For the 12th, it's going to be law number 233 to 253. All right. So we'll probably take a little break and come back maybe about an hour and a half on YouTube and on Facebook. I mean YouTube and Clubhouse, and do the Torah reading for today, right? Which is going to be Torah Commandments number 233 to 253 for the 12th day of the month. That's going to be the title, all right? So, in those commandments, again, it's important to hear these commandments because they're going to be about judges, officers, and elders, basically the government of Israel, showing you how things should be, not necessarily how they are. All right, so was it 233 to 253, right?
Right.
233 to 253. Man, I'm itching to read it right now, but we ain't gonna do that. It's gotta have its separate categories so people can go to it and look at it without having to fast forward through 126 minutes of the Torah convocation. Khan? Let me see the little Sapar Kotana. I guess we can go ahead and end while we broadcasting. We can try to go ahead and end with the I'm trying to think, should we end with the Aleinu? We can read the 10 Commandments real quick. All right. I'll read those real quick, and then we did the whole Shemi, then we could do the Aleinu. So Yamadwa wa Panya Yirah Shalom. All right. Anya Yahawah Alahayaka Ashira Hawa Tiza'at Yakamara Tizamatizari Mabayati Balium. La'a Yahaya Laka Alahaya Makarium Ilpanya. La'ata Isha Laka Pasalwa La'ata Ibadam. La'ata Lakwak Al Sham Yahawah Bashawa. Zakar Hayawam Hashabat Lakodashwa. Kabad Abaka wa Amaka. La'ata Ratzak. La Atana La Ataganab, La Ata Inashakor, La Atakamar Kal Ashara, La Raika. I am Yahweh, your power that brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make any graven images, nor serve them. You shall not take the name of Yahweh in vain. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. Honor your father and mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not covet anything that pertains to your neighbor. First greatest commandment, hear, O Israel, Yahweh our power, Yahweh is one, and you shall love Yahweh your power with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Second greatest commandment, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahweh. Aleinu.
It is our duty to praise the Master of all, to ascribe greatness to the author of creation, who has not made us like the nations of the lands, nor placed us like the families of the earth, who has not made our portion like theirs, nor our destiny like all their multitudes. For they worship vanity and emptiness, and pray to a God who cannot save. We bow and worship and thank the Supreme King of Kings, the Holy One, blessed be He, who extends the heavens and establishes the earth, whose throne of glory is in the heavens above, whose power is presence in the highest of heights. He is our Lahai, there is none other. Truly He is our King, there is none else. As it is written in His Torah, Ye shall know and take to heart this day, the Yahweh Lahai, in the heavens above and on earth below, there is none other. Basham, Yahushi, Hamashiach, Amen.
Imadwa Shabbat, Imadwa, Barakwa, Yabarakakam Yahweh Bashem Yahushia Mashiach,
Yabaraka Yahawah Bashem Yahushia Hamashiach.
Kom Yashalala,
Kom Yashal.
Kom Yashalala,
Kom Yashal.
Kom Yashala,
Kom Yashal.
Hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
Karimata, Imadwa Shabbat, Agwadam Imadwan, Imadwa Shabbat, Imadwa, Barakwa, Yashamar Kam Yahweh Bashem Yahushi Hamashiach. Kom Yashalala,
Kom Yashal.
Kom Yashala, Kom Yashala, Kom Yashala, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Yadi Matah, yes, me. I like it, but this man. Who's that over here, mustache, right? Move that fan, please. In a minute. Okay, everybody, so we finished now. All right. I see you trying to stick around. Okay, now we finished. All praise to the Most High. Shalom Lekam. Remember, follow Yasha Allah prayer and Banya Yasha Allah on here also on YouTube and on on Clubhouse. All right, shalom to come, everybody.